Hey kids, it's Spooky Lukey, and today at the Funhouse, I'm going to talk about something that in the retro game world has been talked about to death. What I'm talking about today is Castlevania, specifically the original NES game. Now, I'm a mediocre gamer, but I do play to win, don't get me wrong. I'm just not practiced enough to finish most retro titles. And I'm addicted to always searching for new games, so I never really take the time or have the patience to push through the mind-melting repetitiveness required to finish a lot of these retro games that are really, really freaking hard. Now, I really enjoy Castlevania. I don't know. Most of the time, I can't get past the Medusa boss. I mean, I'm pretty much not getting past like the sixth stage in this game, and I'd still call it a top 5 NES title for me. But recently, I had the pleasure of playing Castlevania for the Famicom, and it completely changed me as a player. Now, to go back a little bit, on the Famicom disk system in 1986, this came out as Akimuju Dracula. Now, I know that's a horrible pronunciation, but it kind of changes to Devil's Castle Dracula as a rough translation. Devil's Castle Dracula, which is, I guess, a cool title in a way. But they changed it when they moved it to the NES and it came to America. This was due to the kind of satanic nature of the name, and Konami in America felt that they needed to change this because they thought it meant Dracula Satanic Castle. I guess either way you cut it, it's pretty creepy and weird. And they just didn't feel it was going to sell. It was going to be too dark, so the name Castlevania became a thing. And over in Europe, for the MSXQ, it was known as Vampire Killer and had a lot of varied differences. But I want to specifically talk about this Famicom one. So I like playing things in the Famicom, really because I enjoy just the Japanese text and the slight little differences in the game that kind of make it cool, especially if you're playing something that you're familiar with and you get to see that Japanese twist. Now, I've always been led to believe that if something doesn't come out in the US that is from Japan, it's probably because it's much harder, or it was just too unique and rare and good and they didn't want to share it with it. Now, when I put this into the Famicom for the first time, the screen pops up, and the first thing I notice is that there's an easy function. There's an easy mode. There's an easy mode in this game, and this is something that doesn't exist on the NES. So, naturally, I want to give this a try. And as soon as I jump in, I notice that my health bar isn't dropping like crazy. I'm moving through the levels not easily, but much better than ever before. And best of all, there isn't that classic pushback every time you get hit. Instead, you're just frozen in place for a short moment, and then you get back to the gameplay. So what is this? I expected this game to be pretty much the NES version with some Japanese text. And now I'm experiencing this game in a whole new way. Now, I know there's going to be some hardcore fans out there that are going to call me a noob and that this isn't a pure, true way to play the game, and I don't completely disagree. But I do feel that for a newer player, this is the perfect training wheels of the game. You know, before you go to the NES, maybe you can stop by here for a little practice. You can take the time to try out the weapons, learn the patterns of the enemies, get the timing, make a mental map of, all the items and the pork chops. And you can also really enjoy the outstanding pixel art and just the beauty of this fantastic game. It's also got a killer soundtrack that maybe you're going to experience for the first and only time because the NES version is just way too hard. So I'm not saying this is the only way to play it. I'm not saying that this is better or even that it's worse. I'm just saying if you plan on taking down Dracula here in the US, you might want to stop by Japan and play the Famicom just to get a little practice. All right, take care, kids.